Well, I'm James Scott Sr. I've lived in Jonesborough all my life, and can't think of any other place I'd want to live. Everybody was like family. There was no issues of any kind. Everyone got along just fine. One of the most important things that I liked about Jonesborough was the water fountain we had in front of the courthouse, and everybody drank from it. Everybody, white, black, and a dog got up and got water if he could. But anyway, you know, and that's what made me, I think, Jonesborough unique from all other counties in the state, because everyone else had the different and separate water fountains. And of course our bathrooms were the same. We had no different in bathrooms. The only thing that we didn't do, we played together, but we didn't go to school together. But we could have, I'd say, 20 years before anybody else, because everybody got along. Everybody got along. So that's what made Jonesborough, I think, what it is. My mother and father, to my knowledge, was born here. My father his people was from 107, and my mother's people was from here, the Hales, here in Jonesborough. 3 kids. I had my son and 2 daughters. My middle child, I lost her about 10 years ago. And my youngest daughter, she teaches at Daniel Boone, and she has 3 daughters. My son has 3 daughters, and he has one of his daughters teaches in Florida. I have 1 grandson, Jonathan, and I have 3 great-grandsons.
What's something about it that surprised you?
Some of the changes that have been made now from what it was to what it is now. Well, for instance, like moving the water fountain. To me, that was history, because the water fountain, to me, was there when the courthouse was built, then it was there. So when they moved the water fountain, they moved history. So, and I think that was wrong. And of course, to me, that was due to people that had no knowledge or didn't care about the history of Jonesborough. That's what they wanted it to be like in their farming, which is wrong. I do carpenter work. I mow yard, and other than that, that's about it. I've worked all my life, you know. That's part of life, I think, is working. You know, well, it's the same way with people in Johnson City feel like they are 9 notches above people here, but they still are Washington County. They still country people. I don't care how you look at it. They still in the country, because Johnson City is just part of the county. It's just a name, it changes it. So I think that a person should be, first off, have pride. Have respect for yourself. If you have respect for yourself, you have respect for others. If you don't have respect for yourself, you will not respect others. And I think pride is one thing that people no longer have, because they don't have respect for the rights of others. You know, and I think it's wrong. Here at one time, everybody helped everybody. If you needed help, they were there. But now, of course, that's changing. It's changing. I lived on this street, on the upper end of it, all my life, other than when we left the farm coming from here to here. But anyway, everybody was my parent. If you misbehaved, you got dealt with. And then, of course, my father rode the bus from Johnson City to here from work. As he walked up the street, if we had did something, these people would tell him. And of course, Father would come home, he'd speak to Mama, he'd speak to his children, and blah, blah, blah. And we think everything was cool. But after lunch, dinner, we would clean up the kitchen and do whatever we had to do, and off to bed. Well, we thought Father, was sitting out asleep, but he wasn't asleep. He was just waiting for us to go upstairs and go to bed. Then it was tea time. And of course the tea he served didn't have sugar. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because from these people and my parents, and I'm not the best person in the world, I'm not the worst in the world, but I wouldn't be the person that I am if it hadn't been for the people in Jonesborough and my parents.
What's something that's been difficult about living in Jonesborough?
To me, I can't think of anything, really. Because, I had friends that I grew up with. I always had, work. And of course, if things are difficult for most people, is the finances, money, is what they think makes, difference. But I don't remember ever at the point where I didn't have, because I felt like I can always make a little money, I used to, work for the lady in the big man in the big yellow house on the corner, and they made me feel like family. They never made you feel less than a person. So I've always felt, grateful about Jonesborough. Because of me, there's no other community or no other town in the state of Tennessee like Jonesborough. In the summertime, when school was out, we had jobs. Father still farmed, tenant farm, and we raised tobacco, potatoes, corn, and stuff like that. So we had to work that out. Then, of course, if the neighbors wanted us to work, we helped the neighbors. So we always had something to do. Father didn't believe in us being running around. Now after our work was done, we could play.
What are your hopes for Jonesborough in the future?
But it don't get too far on the left. People, Dan especially, made me get talking. And I said, well, what gets me is people say, they move here and they like this area. They like it now. But then they want to change it. If you like something, why change it? That's like, I like that Cadillac, but I'm going to put a BMW sign on it because I like I'm going to change to a BMW. It don't make a lot of sense to me. Leave it like it is. It can grow, but don't change the culture of it.
Yeah. What worries you about the change?
Used to, you could walk, see, we walked, did everything, we walked most of the time as a youngster. When we walked down through town, we knew everybody that owned the store. We knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody else. Everybody spoke. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was nice, and this sort of thing. And the more you could speak to some people, and they act as if you want something from them. No, you don't want nothing from them. Just want to be friendly and nice. But these people that had been this way where they came from. They wasn't friendly. They very selfish. So they're that way here. But you don't have to be that way here. These people are nice people that are here, already here, and friendly people. Help you do anything if you ask. But I don't know. It's just I'm afraid it's going to be like a Gatling bird, and it shouldn't be.
Have you ever thought about moving away from Jonesborough?
No. There's no place like Jonesborough.
You never?
No. Uh, they could have gave me a house in Nashville with no strings attached. I would sold it. You could give me a house in Johnson City with no strings attached. I would sell it. I want to be here because this is where my roots are. And this is, to me, this is where the people that are people. They're not up here, see, but they're getting there. But most of the people that was, here wasn't that way. My mother worked for a family, Mr. Rawson, and he would come to pick her up. And Father, we had a fence around our yard and a gate. Mr. Rawson would pull up in front of our house. He would get out of his car. He'd walk up the walk, knock on the door, and say, "Mamie, are you ready to go?" He'd come back out, he'd open up the car door, she'd get in, and he'd take her to work. And he said, someone asked him why he did that, and he said, well, number one, he says, she don't want me, I want her. Why should I go up and blow when I go to the door and knock on the door like I'm supposed to? And I thought that was very admirable of him, because a lot of people go and blow the horn and sit there and wait till you come out. But he didn't. He'd get out, go up and knock on the door.
He didn't have to do that.
No, but he did, because he was a gentleman. So that was, that's the type of people, and the people we had here in Jonesborough. The man that run that store building was Mr. Beckett. And Mr. Beckett lived in that house you see right there. And he'd walk down. He was about as round as he was tall. Super nice old gentleman. And he chewed tobacco. Oh, he loved his tobacco. And he had two, I guess you call them saloon chairs, those chairs, that we sitting out on the other side of the door. And he loved to play checker, and he was a good checker player. He was an awesome checker player. But anyway, for what I really remember about him, I would come down, we would, and back then you could get a slice of bologna for a nickel, and they'd be about that thick. You get a slice of cheese, and they'd be about that thick. And then they would sell cheese and crackers or bologna and crackers. So he'd be sitting out down in his chair, and Mr. Beckett like to get a slice of bologna. He'd be sitting out chewing his tobacco. He'd chew, he'd spit, he'd wipe, he'd go and slice your bologna, pick it up about 2 or 3 times. Give it to you. It was good. Wouldn't do it now. But that was what he would do. But he was a super nice old man. Super nice old man.